All right, I believe we are live, my friend. How's it going, Nick?
Happy Friday.
Yeah, man, it's Friday. It's finally Friday.
Man, no, the week flew by on this end. How about you?
Oh, same here. Same
Yeah.
here, man. It's been rolling. I'm still catching up on some rest from boat show, man. I know I keep harping on that, but
That boat show was 2 weeks ago, Dustin. We
I
got
know.
to.
We're on the bigger and better things already, I know. But man, it's just been lagging. But no, things have been going good. I mean, we are busier than ever.
Yep.
And yeah, things are rocking and rolling. So happy to be on the podcast with you today and talking about a really cool topic.
Yeah, I think this topic sort of plays in well with, I think a lot of people are picking up right now. Business has been just nuts, especially on the detailing side, right? This is after, up north here after winter, people got some dirty cars that need some cleaning.
Yeah, I was talking with Chris DiGiovanni yesterday. We were on a Zoom with Mike Carlin, and he was like, pre-show, me and him were talking about the ramp up of business and how they saw kind of a flat February, but March, it was just like the light switch. March and 1st of April, just like a light switch came on, and all the business showed up. And got a really cool text from my buddy, Billy Smith, Detail Billy, this morning, and he's got his calendar full for, I think it was over a month and a half or something. And this is his first time. He does a ton of wholesale work, but he's started doing retail work the last few years, and now his calendar's full out into the future. And he just partnered up with Detailers Roadmap to get a website, but it's that time of year. We're busy, Detailers. If you're detailing right now, you're busy. And we have experienced that same rush here. Of course, a lot of ours, well, it's cars too, but a lot of marine comes out, a lot of the boats. So
you gotta get those boats in the water.
Yeah, man. You can't have a dirty boat going in the spring. You can't be the dirty guy on the island. What is our slogan this year? It's Chris, do you remember? It's get your ship together.
Yeah, I like
we had huggers made that said get your ship together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, check this out. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. Get your ship together, and then on the bottom is easy in detail, baby.
There you go.
So yeah. So, but it brings us right to the topic today. The topic is when to clock out of your business, work-life balance. Is there such a thing, Nick? Do you think there's such a thing?
You know what? For a business owner, you own your company. I think it's something that's real difficult. I think that's a buzzword in today's world. Maybe more for employees than business owners. You know what I mean? Because that work-life balance ebbs and flows. It's a roller coaster, man.
It's a myth. I know people. I had done interviews in the past with people that work together, and this may not be 100% what we're talking about, but I've done interviews with people and a couple that absolutely at like a certain time at night they shut it down and they do not talk business. That's their life time, and work time stops. But I just wonder, first of all, that I don't do that. I'm conscious of it, and I try to minimize, but work really never stops for me.
Yeah. I think the other part of it is like, you can say it, but to actually do it's a lot more difficult. You know what I mean? Whether you're just starting out, and if you're there at 8 o'clock at night and you see someone send a message through the website, right, or through Detail Bookie, are you just not going to respond to a hot lead like that? And that's the thing that, you got to sort of juggle there.
Yeah. I mean, I was responding at 10 o'clock the other night to a message. And you get, customer service, like we set ourselves up by hanging our hat on customer service in every business that I own. And that's a double-edged sword, because if you're preaching on customer service, then you got to provide it when it's needed. And unfortunately, that doesn't clock out at 5. Those customers are working on the software and, in the evenings, and they need help. And we don't want to stop them right then. We want you to continue setting up. We want you to continue using it, whatever that question may be. We want to answer that as quickly as possible so we can keep you moving.
The one thing is I think what it was a week ago, we had a rain day, right? So
yeah.
I was gonna bring up I was like there, I'm at the shop, I'm doing stuff, but we shut down a little early. It's raining, like no one's gonna be coming and washing their car in the rain. But then I get a lady that spilled paint in her car, right? And I'm like, man, you know what? I can handle it. I got you. I got you. Just come on in. With not even 5 minutes later, I get another call of, hey, I got a dog, a little puppy that puked in the car. And I'm like, man, I was 5 steps out the door. I was about to head home, be with the kids. I was going to do that. I'm like, man, it's a rain day. And these people need a little bit of help and I'm going to knock it out. And it's just, it's just sometimes you got to make those tough decisions, and you're gaining that customer for the long term because you're going out of your way for them and they appreciate that.
You absolutely are. And it's important to build those relationships. There's detail in every corner now, and we all talk about it. What makes you different? What separates you from the rest? And ours is customer service. We feel like that's a big portion of ours, professionalism and customer service. Well, so how do you put a timer on that? And so, we talk about work-life balance. I think that, you can't be. I think you have to acknowledge it. I think it has to be conscious, especially if you're in a relationship and or have a family. You can't just be so one-sided that says works over everything. And I have an unhealthy shift of that myself. Like I lean heavy on work, and it's because the way I feel is what I'm providing for my family is what my work is doing. So I have I guess a little different take on it per se, but you do have to be conscious of it. It's not something you can just say, well, I'm just going to work till I'm dead and everybody else can figure it out.
And I think, again, what any business owner has that sort of vision of where they're trying to go. And you know what I mean? Going through and working an extra hour or putting in that extra timer. Like today, listen, we haven't stopped all week. I had to get payroll in the last day, but I was there at the shop at 6 a.m. You know what I mean? To submit payroll. And that's just something that, hey, I would have liked to sleep in an extra hour, be there with the kiddos in the morning or something. But we've been so busy, you know what I mean? I've been there for my guys where I'm just not going to go in and sacrifice, work time during the 9 to 5 part, right? It just doesn't end when it hits 5 o'clock. Well, it doesn't end.
It doesn't end. And I think you bring up a good point. So we talk about work life, and I think a lot of people think, okay, work and then life as in my family, my significant other, whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever it is. But it also involves your personal. So like my one thing that I try not to sacrifice on as a part of my work-life balance is my daily routine and my morning workout. It's imperative to me to be the best person I can be to make sure that I have that routine, and which has been adjusted here lately. I've been slacking a little bit and can tell, but that morning routine is what gets me going. So, and I have to schedule that, that's something that I literally put on my schedule every morning. And that's the first thing I do when I get up, get ready, I go work out, then I come into work. And I'm typically here before everyone else, so I can have some of my time.
Yeah. And I think that, again, the key word is routine, right? Some people might use that for working out. Some people might use that for whatever other reason that's their escape in a way.
Yes, that's right.
And not even penciling it. It's got to be in pen. It's got to be, written in there.
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. For me, it's usually at night. You know what I mean? That's when Sarah's asleep, kids are asleep. And that's when I'll be like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. And then my day ends usually around midnight there.
But you notice something right here. See, we are positioning our time away from when the typical need for us to do business is extremely early in the morning, extremely late at night, when most people think that it is unacceptable to ask something of a business. After 8 p.m. or before 6 a.m., it's usually a soft time. Like, someone's messaging at midnight, I don't think they're really they're demanding a response. They're probably just passing the information along.
Yeah.
But here we are positioning our life to happen in the times where business is where it's acceptable to not feel response, like the need to respond.
But the one other thing is like, yes, you've got the customers and that'll probably extend before and after business hours a little bit, but you've got your employees.
Yes.
And that's the one next part that I think with the work-life balance is like managing, great employees. They're going to have something that's going to go wrong at midnight, 2 a.m, 5 a.m. And the phone stays on. You know what I mean? For me, at least, that's something where, part of our business model is creating the best work environment for our employees. And part of that is having someone there for them. You know what I mean? And offsetting that onto a manager is not something that I feel strongly about because it's like, that's not what I told them when they signed up for it. I'm there for them 110%.
That's right. That's right. And so that's one take on it. But then I have another take. So what about our expectations of our employees' work-life balance and how disconnected are they when they clock out? How connected are we asking them to be. And I know I just like I lean heavy on myself, and I'm sure you have a comment on that. I'm sorry to interject, but I know I hold my managers to the same level of expectation that I hold myself. And it's probably a touch unfair. It's probably a touch like sided towards work. Not probably, it is. But it's just it's what I value in our, you know, in our business to provide that support.
You know what's interesting too is I think for me at least, it's like employee by employee basis, right? I've got that employee that's like, hey, they're there 10 minutes early, they leave on time, they don't have, you know what I mean, their attendance is 99.9%, right?
Sure.
Well, I'm not going to be there bothering them after hours. That's their life outside those four walls.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Then there might be some employees that, you know, don't have other things in their life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That aren't a negative. It's just a matter of they have more stuff that they're juggling, and they might need a little more support after hours, but that might also require a little bit of that work going home with them. You see what I'm saying?
That's right. Where it's situational, where you are, hey, we're giving you a little here, but we're asking you to take some of this with you. And we have those situations. Absolutely, we do.
And I want to give a quick example. Like if, let's say, again, this hasn't happened recently, but if we've got a mobile job, right? And my guy's going out there, that's his client, that's his customer. He's taking care of it, right? He gets sick the night before. Okay, well, guess what? I think it looks better that he reaches out.
He should
personally,
reach out. Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And unless there's some crazy circumstance, you know what I mean? I send him the number. I'm like, hey, just reach out, shoot him a text, be like, hey, this is what's going on, get him rescheduled. You let me know if you need anything.
Yeah.
Right. And then that's usually the way that I handle it.
Perfect example. I have one too. Yesterday, our shop manager comes to me in the evening after, the shop shutting down. It's 5 o'clock. Customer picks up and our shop manager says, hey, I QC'd the boat. And I just like had an epiphany where the boat sits on the trailer. It's called a catch, like a cow catch. And it's got these things.
I'm not a boat guy, so yeah.
So it's this part that blocks a piece of the boat. Okay. And we normally have to pick up the boat to do that area, to ceramic coat that area. And he's like, man, I didn't check it. He said, I went and asked the detailer. He said, I don't think I've done it. So he's like, what should I do? And I said, you call the customer right now. I said, call them before the customer finds out. You call them and you say, hey, I think this may have slipped through the cracks. We'll come to you and knock this out. I just want you to be aware of it. That way, if you go launch this boat this afternoon and you see a spot missed, you're not calling me. And so we put that on our, on our managers and our employees, but that's customer service. And it doesn't matter at the time, you call the guy, you get in touch with him and you solve the problem.
And I think that's that bigger umbrella of communication. You know what I mean? I'm very conscious of trying to make sure that I'm not over communicating work stuff outside of work hours, unless it goes both ways. You know what I mean? If it's, so I think that's a really good point with the employees and trying to keep.
So there's a lot to unpack there. Work-life balance. I mean, it's definitely a thing when you think about relationships. So you think of you're married, you have a family. What is your take? I mean, is it a clear divide, or do you plan things with your family and then try to let business happen around that? How does that work?
You know what? I think it's changed over the years. I think that's something that's always evolving. You know what I mean? As we get more mature, as the business grows, as the kids are younger, older, you know what I mean? It's something that's always evolving. Where we are right now, it's a lot of communication. It is something where seasonally, right? Because we are so busy. I think this isn't our first rodeo. It's something that we know, hey, right now, Nick's going to probably be home late a couple extra nights a week. And we might not be able to do our date night this week. That doesn't mean we're not consciously aware of it and trying to make up for it. You know what I mean? But I think scheduling and, me and Sarah, we try and make sure we've got a date night, once a week.
On schedule, planned, something.
And we usually try and schedule vacations as well, where that's something that is a little more on the horizon, a little bigger event. We got babysitter. We got
everything's planned out.
Everything's got to be planned out. But we plan, our vacations 6 months, 12 months in advance.
You have to. You have to. And Sarah works with you guys, right? Yeah, she works for the company. Yeah,
we've got 2 locations, so she's there running the other shop, and she does an awesome job. And and it's something where when we jumped into it together, it's been a lot of fun. But we do stay separated in the 2 different stores, which keeps a little humanity. But we actually worked together in college, bartending, and that was something that was great. And we sort of we know how we work. You know what I mean?
That's right. Well, and that's what people don't realize. Typically, when you work with your significant other,
Mhm.
you're not like you say that, but like you're not working side by side, like
Mhm.
having family conversation throughout the day. It's work.
Yeah.
When we enter the gate out here, it's work, and then when we
Yeah.
leave, work tries to stay, especially in a relationship. So it's no secret. Last year, I went through a divorce about this time,
Mhm.
and it was for a multitude of reasons. Most of them were on her side, and I know that sounds probably, that's probably common to say, but that's the truth in this one. But I mean, work-life balance was one of the things that I thought that I should probably work on,
Yeah.
and then I was like, but in my mind, work is what I'm giving to my family.
Yeah.
Like work to me, building these companies and doing what I do is the value in what I leave behind.
Yeah.
And so for me to invest that now, I think they can appreciate that for years to come. And there's more to it. But and that's probably still a way of me making excuses in a sense for just being a workaholic.
No, you know what's crazy, Dustin, is because it's
Uh-huh.
almost a feeling. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
When you're there and you're busy, and I'm like, man, there's no way this is all fitting in 9 to 5. But
Right.
it's like there's that feeling that you're just so happy and excited
You're accomplishing
for
things.
right that you're there and your business is successful. And the second you lose that feeling, that's when you get out of it.
Well,
You
we
know what I
keep
mean?
saying work. We keep saying work life. I don't think that this is work.
I had a
Like this.
customer yesterday. He's like, "Man, you work hard, Nick." And I'm like, his name was,
Really,
I think it was
Nick.
Fred. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Fred, I haven't worked a day yet. You know what I
No,
mean? And and I feel that, that's
dude.
real.
I feel it too, and so like Demi, my daughter, her spring break was this week,
Mhm.
and I had her Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and
Yeah.
so she came to work with me, and the difference with Demi coming to work, and she's 4, right, and there's only so much she can
Yep.
do around the office, but she is, I mean, this is family to her. This I want her to come here. And
Mhm.
this not be like, oh, we're going to work. This is like
Yeah.
we're going to what I have, and this is
Yeah.
your future. And like I want her to be ingrained in that. And everybody, every employee that we have here, every team member that's here, I mean, is just tight with her. And this is her extended family. Like they love her and she loves being here. I mean, and it creates, it's not easy.
Wow.
But we manage.
But you know what's awesome is like I those are some of the best memories. Like Parker's 4 as well.
Yeah.
He's gonna be 5 in July. But I remember when I was young and my dad opened up his first car wash there in 1981. In
Wow.
yeah, and I was there and I can still smell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The smell of just the car wash was just something that you just never forget.
That's it.
Um,
Yeah.
and then now I bring Parker to work and I get the little step stool and he's there either handling the money, you know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
there taking, and it's just such an awesome experience. That's something you can't. And for me, that creates a balance where I'm spending quality
Well,
time and making these memories.
so
You
I
know,
think what we're doing is we're seeing that there is no real defined line in work in
no,
life. They work together. And
yeah,
I think if you can blend them, and then here Billy Smith, there's a big reason why we are family owned makes life easier, balance, right?
hmm
So we're seeing that work and life are actually one and they work together. And you have to merge that. Now, I think that employees that are doing a job 9 to 5, that it's definitive for them in most
yeah,
cases. But
yeah.
as the owner and as upper management goes, those lines really do get blurred, and you involve your family in your work because that's where you're going to be a
Yeah,
lot.
the employees and the family side of it, I think, is a really interesting take because it
Mhm.
really is something where, hey, I have to be conscious of, hey, my employees, they've got lives outside of these 4 walls, and I want
Absolutely.
that. I want them to come to come to the work and be
Mhm.
excited to be at work, but then leave and be excited about wherever they're going,
Yep.
whatever they're doing, and not having to worry, have to work or do anything else after they leave.
You
And I
know, oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say making a conscious effort of that, and same
Mhm.
thing on the family side. It's like, hey, yeah, work's gonna come home a little bit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But make a conscious effort of, hey, me and Sarah, we do almost like a word vomit. Like first couple minutes we're home, we're like,
Yeah.
okay,
Just
what
get it
went?
all out.
Get it all out. You know what I mean? First 15 minutes, let's get it all out, just so it's
Yeah.
not something that drags. It's not something that's coming up at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. It's all first 15 minutes. What went wrong? What went good? How was your day? It's like, oh, this
Mhm.
was crazy or this was great. And then it's over. that
That's
everything's
it.
talked about.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you've been thinking about it all day. It's natural to get it out, and then, but there are other things going on.
Mhm.
One thing that we try to do to incorporate the work life blend here is we do events. We do a couple events a year, and
Mhm.
we always include a +1 for our employees. So when we do
Oh, that's
like our
very cool.
Christmas party, or we do a
Yeah.
booze cruise, or we do a tubing trip, we always include bring your significant other, bring a cousin, bring a
Yeah.
friend, because we know that we want them involved. We want them to be able to see your interaction with who you're around every day, and
Yeah.
it makes them more comfortable, knowing that, hey, my significant other is spending all their time with these people, and this is how they are, and this is what this is where the love and the family comes from here.
Yeah, and we were trying to get to that too, and then, of course, the craziness in 2020, 2021 hit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were doing, like, bowling, I mean? We
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
"Bring
yeah.
all the family, bring all the kids," I mean, of all 3 companies, and then,
Right.
it was it A, that turned into a work day for me to plan, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
oh, it's a work day. Let
It's
me
a
tell
work day
you,
for us,
it
but
is
as
a
long
work
as
day.
they
Yeah.
enjoy it, you know what I mean? And,
Mhm.
I think that's usually the top priority there.
Well, speaking to that, I mean, like, there's a lot of planning that goes into that. So we do our booze cruise, and it's literally we would take. Well, now I think we're up to like 3 boats to put everybody in. I mean, there's
Yeah, that's
40
awesome.
something employees now, so then you multiply. You're talking 70, 80 people.
Yeah.
But we load up the boat. I mean, we plan it. We have all the coolers filled up. We have lunches prepared.
Yeah.
We're gonna grill. We have like a whole itinerary. We get everybody to the boat launches. We put them on boats, and we take them out to an island, and we just hang out for the day.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of work planning. However, again, bringing that back in, we want to tie in this things outside of work where it's not always work, but you
Yeah.
can actually enjoy each other on that realm as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. The only other thing that I sort of try and take in consideration, right? I know we talked about, like, scheduling stuff.
Yeah.
Um, it's this. We talked about seasonality. It is that those rain days, right? So me and Sarah, we kind of know, like, there might we when it rains, we're gonna try and get our stuff done, and then that's when I went with Parker to we saw that little Mario movie. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
That's kind of how we play it. You know what I mean? We kind of just get it. Like, we're a weather-based business. There's a
Hmm.
lot less headaches when it's raining,
Yeah.
and we can take care of everything we need to on those sunny days. And yeah, that's just the one other sort of element that we kind of take into effect for our balance.
Yeah, I think scheduling is key.
Yeah.
If you're having a hard time, really making that time for life, for that significant other, I think putting it on the schedule like make it a recurring thing. Use your
Mhm.
Google Calendar, make your plan date night recurring, whether it be weekly, bi-weekly, whatever,
Yeah.
and have that thing scheduled in where you're really doing that. We usually use like after hours dinner. We'll go to dinner and all. Just it kind of it's a little breakaway because to go home and cook and all that, which we do.
Yeah.
But
It's
to go to Mexican, you know what I
it's
mean?
so
And
hard. It's so
yeah, oh, it's tough,
Let me just
man.
yeah, that was a great point because I think eating. Can we just talk
Yeah,
eating for a second, right? Work-life balance. Part of the life side is
it's
eating.
the eating.
Can we
As
just
well, it's the most part of it. It's
I'm
the
like, man,
biggest
I'm gonna grab
section
a
of it.
water bottle every time we do the show because it's the only time I have a chance to get a drink.
Sit
You know
down
what I
and
mean?
drink.
It's
Yeah, yep,
But what we've tried HelloFresh, we've done some pre-made meals. We try and
yeah.
see what things are out there to
Hmm.
make
To make it easier.
the monotonous a little bit easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
The
it does.
cooking, the
You get in this
cleaning.
routine, right? And
Yeah.
you just like it's hard to keep it fresh
Hmm.
and then you get, you find yourself in a rut or in this just like routine basis. But life is gonna happen. Try not to beat yourself up over it either.
Hmm.
Like we can only do so much, right? And at the end of the day, I guarantee you everybody wants their bills paid first and so
Yeah.
they can enjoy that time. If you're sitting there stressing on how you're going to pay the rent, but yet you're going to Ruth Chris for dinner that night, like,
Yeah.
you have a work life imbalance and you need to get back to work so you can
Yeah.
pay the rent,
Yeah.
like, I mean, really, and I use rent term, whatever, like, mortgage, power bill, whatever those bills may be that you may not be able to meet. You got to go to work first and then worry about life.
What are your thoughts as for those newer, like, again,
Mhm.
newer details? They're not going to be maybe have as many employees, right? Or if it's a
Yeah.
single guy
Yeah.
or thinking about getting started and they're like, man, what am I getting into?
Yeah.
Right. What is sort of your advice on when you're starting off prioritizing that work-life balance? Or like you said in the beginning, is it just a myth?
It's a myth. I mean, owner operator, think about this. We all remember when we started and we're the guy who's doing everything, right? The girl who's doing everything as the owner operator. When you go home, so you've detailed all day, so you got to pay the bills. You go home and now you put on your marketing hat, you put on your customer calling hat, you put on your scheduling hat, you put on your pay bills hat, and
get your accounting glasses on.
Yeah. And all these things have to be done. And
Mm-hmm.
so you really sacrifice life in the first few years of business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just part of it. And that's why a high percentage of businesses, startup businesses, do not last. They fail at a high rate. And that's not to scare you away. It's because the willingness to put in that amount of time and to sacrifice portions of your life that are otherwise unnegotiable, you have to be made. Those sacrifices have to be made for the business to make sense and for it to make money and work.
Do you see it that it not necessarily that it fails, but it plateaus would be my sort of right? Because it's almost like, hey, they're putting in, they're like, man, I'm done at 5. I'm done detailing. They lose the passion for it, so it plateaus. They're still going to make their money, but it plateaus, and maybe it's not successful.
It's not growing.
It's not growing anymore, right? They're like, man, if I bring in an employee, man, there's nothing left for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it plateaus and they get stuck.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're limited by the amount of time that you're willing to spend. So time is the variable, right? Time is what we all, it's fixed, but it's variable in that you can spend as much time or as little time as you want in your business, right? That's the variable.
Decision has a consequence, right? You need more time. Well, you're not sleeping. You're not getting.
Right.
You're not
you
getting
have
12
to
hours.
sacrifice something to get that edge to beat the competition. Now, do I think so to answer your question, yes, I think that plateau is the perfect term for someone that's not willing to work after hours at a certain point. I don't think that you will ever meet see those, I don't want to say ever. I think it slows down the goal reaching process. I think that the goals that you have set are going to have to go out that much further because you're spending that less time working on them. Yeah. I don't want it to sound like, like you have to work all night in order to get that. I think that there's a balance. And I do think the longer you're in business, the more control you have over that at times. I think that you can put things and people and like structure in place that helps minimize some of that need for after hours real work.
Yeah. So let me flip it to the other side of the spectrum, right? Let's say you do have a detailing company, you got 5 detailers, 10 detailers, a couple mobile units, whatever it is. You're at that level of, hey, I want more life, less work, right? And I think there's a lot of people at that stage. I think we're at that stage. I mean? You're in that stage for a really long time.
Absolutely.
What do you sort of see as that next thing that you're going to go into to create more of that life versus work side?
It's tough for me. It's tough for me to answer that because I don't have the demand on myself to generate that much time for life. It's weird. And I think that probably sounds really bad and I'll probably cringe if I ever hear it again.
I think that's the truth.
If I can spend an hour a night, an hour or two in the evenings on my life and not catch a day every now and then, I'm satisfied, man. So to create, am I putting things in place to create more time in my life? I'm not at that stage yet. And I don't think that it's even in the next 3 to 5 year plan of me going, okay, what things do I put in place that gets me out of here? I'm looking for more things to get, for more things to do. And
the other part of it, and I don't think it's to get out of here, but as you continue to expand the business, or as I continue, or someone else does, right? Let's say you add a 3rd, 2nd, 4th location, whatever it may be, you're still not just getting consumed by the wave, right? That wave of the time that's needed for work, right? Getting consumed, and that maybe, right, you have your balance now, but you want to go do another project, and then that 2 hours turns into 1. You see what I'm saying? Because
I think you nailed it. So the biggest difference is the want to do it or the have to. So I don't want to have to do it. Okay, so there's the big difference right there.
Awesome. Yeah,
we put people in place that will minimize the have to, so I can do what I want to. Okay. And I think that that's where you try to get to in business is is you're trying to delegate enough and put enough responsibility on other managers or other employees
Mhm.
to where if you don't want to do that after
Mhm.
hours, you don't have to. And I think that's the biggest, what a great show, like an epiphany
Yeah.
is that, we're only, you should be setting yourself up to do, to work when you want to and not because you
Yeah.
have to.
Yep, and I think that's a great way to put it. I think bam, and the
Yeah,
lives
I
are
mean,
done. That's just how you put it. Because
you
I think like I want to be doing, I want to be able to not worry about certain things in the business,
yes, yeah,
and honestly be just certain days just be detailing and just not
yeah.
have the phone be ringing 24/7.
That's
And
right. You want to put the things in place that allow you to do the things you want to do within the company, the
yeah,
fun stuff. And it ain't always fun. And it's probably miserable to some people to think that, like, I want enough time to go through my books. Like, that sounds probably miserable
yeah.
to some people, probably Chris sitting in here. He's like, what?
I want to be
No.
able to sit there and just lay some PPF. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's my fun adventure that I'm doing right now. I enjoy it.
Chris, I
Truthfully.
got a question for you. I don't know if your mic's hot, but so in photography, he's our photographer,
Mhm.
videographer, and he's heading up production now. And so I have a question. So when you do photos after hours, do you consider that work, Chris?
Not at all. I
So
don't consider it work at all.
so it's not
Even
work to you.
when I'm at work.
Yeah.
No.
So when you're doing the things you love, right?
Yeah.
That's not real work.
Yeah.
And so, why should we feel guilty about doing those things that we love after hours if that's what you love to do? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the work-life balance,
It's a
I
myth.
think
It's a
it's a
buzzword.
myth.
It's something that, I don't think I heard it as much before when we
Yeah.
first started out, but it's, still taking it into consideration from the employee point of view is really important.
I think that is. I think
Yeah.
that exists.
Yeah.
And I think it is a word that really should or really does mean something when you're talking about employee
Mhm.
time management, because their commitment is not the same as your commitment in a lot of cases as the owner, and that's just the reality of it. Therefore, creating that so that way they have time to spend time in their life, and that's and doing the things that they love.
Yeah, no, I love it. What do we got chalked up for next week? You got something just itching on this?
Man, that's a good question. I've got a lot of stuff going on. I got a lot of cool stuff coming on. I can't really announce it yet, but we got something pretty big. I'll have to tell you. Maybe we could do a show kind of around
That's showbiz
that.
right there. That's the cliffhanger. That's the cliffhanger. That's showbiz.
So stay by next week. Hey, I'm also doing a live at 3:30 on my personal. I mean, I'm sorry, not on my personal, on the MVP group. I'm going to be going over some of the things that we've done in detail booking in the last 18 months. We had a message come through, and it was kind of questioning our progress that we've made. And like, I take offense to those in a sense. Like, I get the question.
Gets
but
lost in the feelings. Dustin's getting lost in those feelings.
Look, I don't lose my mind. No, man, because it's like, what if I called you and said, "Hey, what is your business? Has your business done anything in the last 18 months?"
Nothing.
Like,
we've done nothing. No, we put zero time, zero effort into it.
So it's a very informative live I'm gonna do. You want to jump on there, man? Jump in there with me or whatever.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, man.
I've invited other people to join the live. It's a Q&A, but I have a list of all the things that we've done for our software and for our users, and and I'm excited to be able to to go over that and then go over our future plans, which I've pretty much laid out numerous times, but I want to lay that out for those that are waiting on things to understand where they fit in the timeline. And listen, I'll get all into that later. I was going to tell you, software solves a lot of problems, and our expectations are extremely high. Once we get it in workflow, we always want more. And sometimes we just have to manage those expectations,
And again, 2 years ago, man, we were old school. We were writing it down in pen. You know what I mean? We were
2 years ago. Listen, 2 years ago, I sat at MTE in a booth, a 10x10 booth, talking about software, and everybody looked at me like I had three heads. Now I have guys messaging me, asking me like if I'm doing anything in the world of software, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Man,
So if you ask that, listen, I'm not hating on you. I'm not.
Yeah.
You are right by asking the question.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And it caused me to come in here and make sure that you, as our followers and our users, understand what we're doing for the software. So I do appreciate it. I know I sound frustrated, but I'm really not. I'm glad for the opportunity to get to, show what we have actually done.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love it.
Awesome, man. Great show. Love it. Love talking about work-life balance or the lack of.
Yeah. Or the myth of
the
what
myth.
it is.
it's a blend, man. Work and life go together. When you're business owners, when you're upper level management, it's a blend. It's
Yep.
together. I think we uncovered it and says like, work on the things that, work to set yourself up where you can work on what you want to, not what you have to. And I think that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. Every week we'll be here just trying to help these young business owners out, trying to get them not making the same mistakes we made, right?
That's right. That's all we're trying to do, man. Appreciate the conversation as always. You're awesome, Nick. Thank you for joining in, and I will see you next week, bro.
Next week. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.